Hello everyone, welcome to our video ministry update for the month of July, where we share with you all that's going on in our lives and our ministry here in the country of Bolivia. This past month, while preaching through the book of Mark, we got to chapter 7. And verse 6 has always been a verse that's been very convicting to me, where Jesus is having a confrontation with the Pharisees. And quoting from the book of Isaiah, he tells them that with their lips they honor him, but their heart is far from him. And it always makes me think, can I be doing all the right things, yet in my heart be far from the Lord? And I fear that this happens too often, or often in our own lives, whereas we can be doing all the right things and we can be focused on our outward appearance, that we look good, and with our lips we're honoring the Lord, but it just might be that our heart is far from him. And then it hit me as I was studying this passage. I began to see what the context was, that in reality the Pharisees were focusing on their man-made traditions, and they were focusing on the outward appearance to show their spirituality. And then I realized that what it was the more that they focused on those things that weren't the Word of God, and they focused on their outward appearance and their traditions, the farther their heart was from the Lord. And I wonder how often that can happen in our lives, where we focus on a set of man-made rules or traditions, and we focus on making sure we look right on the outside. We focus on making sure that we're saying the right things with our lips, but at the same time our heart can be very far away from God. And, when we get to the end of the passage, he tells them exactly what it is, what the key is to deal with this, and that is that they have to get away from focusing only on the outward side, and then get back to focusing on the Word of God itself. And so we have to pray that God would really show us what's going on in our hearts and in our lives, and we have to decide that we're going to allow the Word of God to penetrate deep into our heart and cleanse us from the inside and out. We have to stop trusting in a set of rules or set of traditions. We have to stop just trying to give a good appearance in our lives, and really focus on allowing the Word of God to touch our hearts and to cleanse our hearts. And so I have to ask, where is your heart? Where is your heart? How is your heart with God? Are you going through the motions? Are you showing spirituality outwardly, but yet your heart is far from God? If that's the case, then get back to the Word of God. Get back to asking God to use His Word to truly cleanse and work in your heart, so that we can be truly right with Him inwardly, and obviously that would show outwardly. Also, this past month, we continue to see the Lord bless when it comes to our land for the church in Pacata. We had two new offerings come in, one offering for $1,000 and one offering for $300. It came in from supporting churches of ours. And with these two offerings, that brings our total up to $37,236 towards purchasing the land. And so we're now actively looking for a possible piece of land for the church, and we're looking at several different options that could be good options for the church. And so we'd ask that you would pray that the Lord would continue to give us wisdom, guide us, but also to open up the doors so that we can make sure we're in the exact location where He wants the church to be. I'm truly excited about what the future of this church holds. I know that God is going to continue to bless them and be able to help them to reach many people in the community where they're working. If you would like to help us and you'd like to give towards this need, just mark it Bolivia Land Fund and send that to Vision Baptist Missions Incorporated. That's P.O. Box 647, Dawsonville, Georgia 30534. Thank you so much for your love and your generosity towards us in this great need. Also, we'd just like to give you an open invitation to come and visit us. Every so often, we like to invite people to come and visit the mission field. It was on the mission field where God did a special work in my heart, in my life, and I know that He would do the same for you, and He would even do the same for the people of your church. And if you're interested in bringing a group down, please let us know. The cost is usually around $2,000, but that can vary depending on what time of the year, if it's a peak time or if it's an off time. The tickets can vary, and it also depends on how many people will be coming. But we would love to have you come down and visit us here. A lot of times we plan a trip around the 1st of July, which corresponds with our missions conference. And so if you would like to look at bringing a group down to visit us here in Bolivia, just let us know. We can give you all the details and maybe go ahead and start planning a date so that you can come down and see what God's doing here in the city of Cochabamba and the country of Bolivia. So if you prayer requests for this month, please continue to pray for Pastor Juan and his family as Juan recovers from hernia surgery. He's getting much better now. Had some struggles at the very beginning, but God has continued to bless him and the church there in Santa Cruz. Also, continue to pray for Pastor Jorge in the church in Pacata. Of course, that's a church that's seeking land, but pray that God would continue to bless them, continue to work in the church. The church is on Sundays is completely full. There's no room. And so we're praying that God would continue to guide and direct them. Also pray for Pastor Pablo and the work there in Quiacoyo, our second church, as he's still working on trying to get the paperwork. Had lots of difficulties in that. And so we're praying that God would touch hearts, God would open up doors so we can see that paperwork finished and so that we can begin building on the land where the church is going to be there. And so also pray for our church in an area we call it Chiquicoyo. It's where our new church is at. God is really bringing in a lot of new people. We're seeing a lot of interest and a lot of people who are growing in the Lord. And so just continue to pray for the work there. Continue to pray for Joel that's working with us there, that God will continue to work in his heart and prepare him to be able to serve the Lord. So we just want to thank you so much for all that you do for us in the ministry here in Bolivia, and just realize that we could not do what we do without you. So thank you so much, and God bless.